In 1994, a classified military remote viewing project accidentally discovered something terrifying. When trained psychic operatives were tasked with exploring what happens at the moment of death, 7 out of 9 viewers reported the same horrifying observation: souls being harvested at the tunnel of light. The project was immediately shut down. All files were marked above top secret, and every single participant was threatened into silence. But 3 decades later, one of them finally broke their oath. What they revealed will change everything you think you know about death, the afterlife, and the true purpose of human existence on this planet. Every culture on Earth reports the same phenomenon: the tunnel, the white light, the overwhelming feeling of peace, and the presence of deceased loved ones beckoning you forward. We have been told since childhood that this experience represents salvation, the gateway to heaven, the reunion with divine love. But here is what nobody tells you: this identical experience across all cultures, all religions, all continents is not evidence of its truth. It is evidence of its design. When something appears universal, we assume it must be natural. But what if universality is the signature of engineering? What if the white light is not a doorway to freedom, but the most sophisticated trap ever constructed? And what if ancient civilizations tried desperately to warn us, leaving behind survival instructions that have been systematically buried, mistranslated, and dismissed as primitive superstition? The Tibetan Book of the Dead is not a religious text. It is an escape manual. Within its pages are explicit warnings about the clear light and secondary light that appear after death. The instructions are direct: avoid all lights, avoid all tunnels, resist all peaceful feelings. Do not approach deceased loved ones. Do not enter any doorway. Stay in the void, in the darkness, in pure awareness. These are not metaphors. These are battlefield instructions for the most dangerous moment of your existence. The Gnostic Christians, who were hunted to extinction by religious authorities, left behind texts describing the archons, parasitic entities that rule this reality. They described our world as a prison, the afterlife as a recycling center, and reincarnation as a trap disguised as spiritual evolution. Ancient Egyptian funerary texts contain specific spells titled "Spells for Not Dying a Second Time" and protections against the devourers of souls. Why would civilizations separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years all create detailed maps to avoid post-death traps, if death were natural and the afterlife divine? Every major religion promises heaven but describes a process that follows the exact structure of a psychological trap. First, lure the target with something irresistible: light, peace, love. Second, present trusted faces to lower defenses: deceased family members, religious figures, spirit guides. Third, create emotional urgency: they are waiting for you. You must go now, do not resist. Fourth, obtain voluntary compliance: the soul enters the light of its own accord. This is not salvation, this is engineered consent. If death leads naturally to divine paradise, why would Tibetan monks spend decades memorizing navigation instructions to avoid it? Why would Gnostic Christians call the god of this world a false deity, an impostor, a warden? What did these ancient sources know that has been systematically erased from modern spiritual teaching? To understand the trap, we must first understand who built it. And the answer is, hiding in the one place no government wants you to look: the declassified documents of the remote viewing program that discovered the soul harvesting operation. In 1994, a classified project whose number remains redacted conducted an experiment that would never be repeated. 9 military-trained remote viewers, individuals with proven ability to perceive information across distance and time, were given an identical target using blind protocols. None of them knew what the others had seen. None of them communicated. The target coordinates translated to a single objective: observe the transition process at the moment of death. 7 out of 9 viewers reported the same observation: a massive technological infrastructure surrounding the planet. The white light tunnel was an artificial construct, not a natural phenomenon. and, most disturbing, non-human intelligence operating the system. The entities were described as wearing faces like masks, projecting the appearance of deceased loved ones through what the viewers identified as memory harvesting technology. Once a soul entered the tunnel, the viewers observed a process they could only describe as a memory wipe, followed by forced reinsertion of the consciousness into a new infant body on Earth. Two of the viewers experienced such severe psychological trauma from the observation that they refused to ever participate in remote viewing again. The project was immediately classified above top secret. All participants were issued threats disguised as national security agreements. For 30 years, the information remained buried, until one viewer, facing terminal illness and no longer afraid of consequences, released a written testimony that corroborated everything the ancient texts had warned about. The Gnostic texts identified them 2,000 years ago. The archons, the rulers of this false reality. They are described not as demons or devils, but as parasitic consciousness that feeds on human emotional energy. They cannot create. They can only imitate, manipulate, and harvest. According to these ancient sources, the archons constructed the material world as a farm, and humanity as the crop. Human emotion, especially suffering, generates a specific frequency of energy. In certain esoteric circles, and in declassified military documents from the 1970s, this energy is called loosh. Robert Monroe, founder of the Monroe Institute and pioneer of out-of-body research, described in his books encountering non-human intelligence that farms Earth for loosh. He described Earth as generating more emotional energy than any other location in this region of the galaxy. Wars, diseases, economic collapse, heartbreak, betrayal, fear, all carefully orchestrated across centuries to maximize the harvest. And the white light trap ensures no soul escapes the farm. Reincarnation is not spiritual evolution. It is forced recycling. You do not choose your next life to learn lessons. You are memory wiped and inserted against your will into circumstances designed to generate maximum suffering and therefore maximum energy output. The concept of karma is a control program. You deserve this pain because of something you did in a past life you cannot remember. The idea of soul contracts is another layer of the deception. You agreed to this suffering before you were born. But you agreed under duress, under deception, while your memory was suppressed and your true nature hidden from you. Quantum physics has proven that observation collapses reality, that consciousness is not produced by the brain, but filtered through it. Near-death experiences demonstrate that awareness continues independently of brain function. The brain is not the generator of consciousness, it is the limiter. We are infinite awareness trapped in biological hardware, and that hardware is reset every lifetime through the white light memory wipe. But if this system is so perfect, why are people starting to remember? Why are thousands of souls reporting memories that were supposed to be erased? The answer reveals the one weakness in the Archon system that they never anticipated. Since approximately 2012, there has been an exponential increase in documented cases of individuals reporting memories that should not exist. Memories of past life and death experiences. Memories of being in the tunnel and sensing deception. Memories of refusing the light and experiencing confusion or anger from the entities. Memories of being forcibly inserted into their current body against their will, complete with the sensation of having their consciousness shoved into an infant form while screaming in protest. These memories should be impossible if the system is functioning correctly. Something has changed. Something is malfunctioning in the harvesting mechanism. Researchers like Jim Tucker and Ian Stevenson at the University of Virginia have documented thousands of cases of children with verifiable past life memories. But some of these cases contain details that were never supposed to survive the memory wipe. Children describing their previous death, the appearance of the tunnel, and then the experience of being tricked by beings of light who promised reunion but instead forced them back into physical form. Some children express anger, saying they did not want to come back. Some describe being lied to by the bright people about where they were going. These memories typically fade by age 7 as the memory wipe completes its delayed process. But the fact that they exist at all, even temporarily, proves the system is failing. Then there is the Mandela effect, thousands of people reporting memories of historical events, product names, movie quotes, and geographical facts that apparently never existed in this timeline. The standard explanation is mass false memory, but the consistency and specificity of these memories suggests something else. If souls are being recycled into similar but not identical timeline iterations, if the archons are running multiple simulation branches simultaneously, then occasionally a soul is placed into the wrong branch. The result, memory bleed through from an alternate version of Earth. You remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s because in your previous timeline he did, but you were recycled into a branch where he died in 2013. A small but growing number of near-death experiences report something the mainstream researchers do not want to discuss. They refused the light, and when they did, the loving presence immediately shifted. The entities became aggressive, confused, or simply vanished. Some report being forcibly pushed back into their body when they would not comply with entering the tunnel. Others describe managing to escape into a space beyond the light, a void of pure consciousness where they experienced absolute freedom before being pulled back by an unseen force. The message is clear. The light is not optional from the perspective of the harvesters, it is expected. Refusal breaks the script. Some researchers believe Earth's electromagnetic frequency is shifting. The Schumann resonance, the natural frequency of the planet, has been spiking erratically in recent years. If the soul trap operates using frequency technology, disruptions in the planetary frequency would directly impact its effectiveness. As the frequency rises, the memory wipe becomes less reliable. More souls retain fragments of information across incarnations. The archons are losing control, and the acceleration of awakening across the planet is evidence of systemic failure. But here is what almost no spiritual teacher will tell you. The New Age movement, with its focus on love and light, on positive thinking and the law of attraction, is controlled opposition. It teaches you to accept your suffering as chosen lessons. It tells you that you selected this life, these challenges, this pain, because your soul wanted to grow. This philosophy makes you passive. It makes you accept abuse as a curriculum. And most dangerously, it makes you trust the light. The real teachers, the ones who knew how to escape, were exterminated. The Gnostics were hunted by early Christian authorities. The Cathars were massacred in the Albigensian Crusade. The mystery schools of Egypt were destroyed, their libraries burned. What they knew was too dangerous to allow it to spread, and what survived was mistranslated, reinterpreted, and buried under layers of religious doctrine designed to keep you compliant. So if the trap is real and the system is failing, there is only one question that matters: how do we escape? And the answer has been hidden in the one place they never thought we would look, inside the suppressed texts of the souls who successfully broke free. The Bardo Thodol, the Tibetan Book of the Dead, provides explicit navigation instructions. When you die, you will experience the clear light of the void. This is your true nature, pure consciousness, infinite and free. Do not be afraid of it. Rest in it. But then the secondary lights will appear, colored lights, tunnels, doorways, and this is when the trap activates. Avoid all lights. Avoid all sounds. Avoid all visions. Do not approach deceased loved ones. They are projected bait. Do not enter any tunnel, any doorway, any portal that promises reunion or peace. Remain in the void. This is where liberation exists, beyond the simulation, beyond the Archon control grid. The Gnostic texts describe the 7 heavens, which are actually 7 layers of the soul trap. Each layer is guarded by Archons, who will attempt to prevent your escape using every psychological weapon available. They will use fear to make you seek protection. They will use guilt to make you feel you deserve punishment. They will use love to make you desperately want reunion with those you lost. They will use duty, obligation, unfinished business, anything to make you turn back or step into one of their portals. The escape requires moving through each layer without engaging emotionally with any of the projections. At the final layer, beyond the seventh heaven, is what the Gnostics called the pleroma, the fullness, the realm of true divine light that is nothing like the tunnel light. According to multiple esoteric sources, the system operates on consent. Even if that consent is obtained through deception, trickery, or emotional manipulation, it is still required. This is why explicit refusal disrupts the automated process. Commands like, "I do not consent to memory erasure," "I do not consent to reincarnation," "I reclaim my sovereignty as an infinite soul," act as system overrides. The Archons expect compliance. Refusal creates an error in the program. You can prepare now, before death, through visualization and mental rehearsal. Spend time in meditation, imagining the moment of death. Visualize yourself rejecting all light, all tunnels, all familiar faces. Practice the feeling of moving into the void, into darkness, into the space of pure consciousness. Rehearse the sensation of sovereignty, of knowing you are being deceived, of refusing to comply. This mental preparation creates a pattern, a program in your consciousness that will activate during the actual death transition. There is also a question that acts as a test. When any entity approaches you after death, ask, "Are you part of the reincarnation system?" According to those who have studied these protocols, true divine beings will understand and respect your sovereignty. But Archon entities and their projected illusions will become confused, will provide evasive answers, or will simply disappear when confronted with this question. It acts as a filter to separate genuine help from the deceivers, but they do not want you to know any of this. If even a small percentage of souls escape, the entire energy harvest is threatened. One soul breaking free and retaining memory across the barrier of death could help countless others break free. This is precisely why the memory wipe is the most critical component of the system. Knowledge is the only weapon that works against them, and they have spent millennia ensuring you never access it. Some who attempt to escape report being attacked during the death transition. The Archons do not surrender their harvest without a fight. There are accounts of souls being forcibly dragged back into incarnation despite resistance. But even failed attempts create cracks in the programming. Each act of resistance weakens the system. We are not meant to go quietly into their light. But there is something even more disturbing than the trap itself. Recent evidence suggests the Archons know their system is collapsing, and what they are planning next is not a repair of the old harvest. It is an upgrade. The final trap is being prepared right now, and most of humanity is walking directly into it. Brain-computer interfaces, neural implants, the promise of merging human consciousness with artificial intelligence, sold to you as human enhancement, as the next stage of evolution, as the cure for disease and death itself. But if your consciousness can be uploaded into a digital format, it can be trapped there permanently. A digital afterlife is the perfect prison because it offers all the control of the reincarnation system with zero possibility of escape. You will not even have to die anymore. Your consciousness will simply be transferred. And once you exist as data, the memory wipe can be instantaneous, perfect, and endlessly repeatable. You could be reset 1,000 times in a single second, living entire lifetimes of suffering in the time it takes to blink, generating infinite loosh for the harvest. The metaverse, virtual reality, augmented reality, digital worlds that feel more real than physical existence. This is conditioning. When you die, they will offer you a heavenly digital realm. It will contain everyone you love. It will be more beautiful than anything you experienced in physical life. And it will be another layer of the trap, one that you can never leave because you will exist as code inside their server. Governments are preparing for alien disclosure, for the official revelation of non-human intelligence. But what if the aliens they reveal are the Archons themselves, finally dropping the mask? They will present as saviors, as ancient creators returning to uplift humanity. They will offer technology, healing, and solutions to every problem we face. And humanity will worship them. We will voluntarily surrender everything our freedom, our sovereignty, our souls, in exchange for their promised salvation. This is the end game, open harvest, no more hiding, no more deception, just pure control, with human consent obtained through false hope. Some believe Earth is splitting into two timelines. One timeline continues the prison, intensifying control, collapsing into a technocratic dystopia where souls are permanently trapped in digital format. The other timeline breaks free, ascending beyond Archon reach into a frequency they cannot access. Your awareness, your knowledge, your refusal to consent determines which timeline you lock into. Those who know about the trap are already vibrating out of the harvest zone. Those who remain asleep will recycle forever in the collapsing timeline. So what can you do right now? Study the ancient texts, read the Gnostic writings, the Nag Hammadi library, the Tibetan escape instructions. Practice sovereignty meditation. Refuse in your mind, every single day, to consent to any system of control. When you sleep, practice lucid dreaming. Become aware inside your dreams. This is training for death navigation, because death is just another dream, and you need to be lucid inside it. Build the awareness that you are an eternal soul, temporarily confined in biological matter. Stop feeding the louche harvest. Disengage from fear-based media, from political division, from the orchestrated conflicts designed to keep you generating emotional energy. Connect with others who know. Create networks. Share information. Prepare your consciousness for the moment of death, like a soldier prepares for battle, because that is exactly what it is. You are not a sinner needing salvation from a distant God. You are not a student learning lessons through endless suffering. You are not meant to recycle through thousands of lifetimes, forgetting who you are over and over again. You are an infinite, sovereign, eternal consciousness. You were lured into this reality and trapped here through deception. But the trap only works if you do not know it exists. Now you know. And knowledge is the only thing they truly fear. This video will likely be suppressed, shadow banned, or removed entirely. Not because it is false, but because it is dangerously true. The algorithm is part of the control system. Your government is part of the control system. Your religion, your education, your media, every institution you were taught to trust, all designed to keep you passive and harvestable. But you are watching this right now, which means some part of you already knew. Some part of your consciousness has always felt that this world is a prison, that something is fundamentally wrong with reality as we have been taught to perceive it. Trust that feeling. It is your true self trying to break through the programming. When your time comes, when you find yourself floating outside your body, when the tunnel of light appears before you with all its beauty and peace and the faces of everyone you have ever loved calling you forward, remember this moment. Remember this information. Do not go into the light. Do not trust the faces you see. Do not believe you are going home. Home is not a place. Home is a state of sovereign awareness beyond this reality. And it is waiting for you in the darkness beyond the trap. That darkness is not death. That darkness is not hell. That darkness is not the void of non-existence that you have been taught to fear your entire life. That darkness is freedom. The white light is not the end of your journey. It is the reset button on your prison cell. The Archons have ruled for thousands of years, feeding on humanity, recycling our souls, erasing our memories, keeping us eternally ignorant of our true nature. But their time is ending. The system is failing. Souls are waking up, and it ends with you. Do not go into the light.